Yeah, so I was just thinking, I think Amanda and Lindsay were there when we were talking with Spence, and he was talking about different signs with your hands to use at meetings, and especially helpful on Zoom since we can't see each other's bodies really. Hi, Brooke. Um, so of course there's the good old thumbs up if you agree. If you're neutral, it's sideways thumb. If you have a no, it's down. If you like something that someone's saying and you agree and you're saying yay, then you can go like that. There's some other ones having to do with shifting gears and time, be aware of time and that kind of thing. I don't remember all of them right now. So, hi Joshua. Hi Leo. So
How are you
we can
doing?
use our hand signals, and please feel free to jump in any time. As I'm going to be sharing information, it will be, me talking probably more than others. But I was just checking, look like, okay. But please feel free to jump in anytime you want to. And yeah, let's go ahead and just get started. I wanted to just simply start by having us say our names and our child's name and their age and what drew us to be here today with True North for this year. And if there's anything else important that you feel like you want to add, but we'll just take a couple minutes per person to share just a little bit, so we're not just disembodied faces on a screen to one another. Although some of us do know each other already. So I'll go ahead and start. And my name's Heather, and my daughter is Elsa, and she is not a student at True North, but a facilitator now. She's been a self-directed learner her whole life, and she's going to turn 18 next month. And oh yeah, I was going to suggest that we just share something we love doing together with our child. So with Elsa, well, one thing that's popping to mind is we've always loved reading together. And, when she was little, before she read, we would read to her all the time. And then for a good number of years, she's been more reading to me than I read to her. But just, was it night before last? We were cuddled up and I was reading to her, and it just felt so good. And like that sweetness never goes away. Getting to cuddle up and read with your child, is no matter what age they are. It's fantastic. So I'm going to pass the baton to Julia. Is that okay, Julia? Okay, you need to wait. Okay. Okay. How about I will pass the baton to Amanda and Joshua.
Hello. So Amanda, hi. We have our son's Malachi. He's 4.5. And what I enjoy doing with him the most, the first thing that comes to mind is just that time of cuddling, talking about whatever, feelings, anything like that, just talking about life and just that deeper connection, looking in each other's eyes.
My son is also Malachi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Joshua. The first thing that just pops into my mind is getting to go back to, the world of imagination and playing there. And just coming up with, just whatever it is. If we're on a spaceship or we're building a tree house that's actually just outlines of rocks on the ground and stuff like that. So that's what I like.
You want to pass the baton to somebody?
Oh, Brooke.
Hi there, I'm Brooke, and my husband's Jasper. He's not here, but soccer. And our boy is Austin. We have two boys, and Austin's a True North this year. He's really enjoying Malachi, by the way. He's wondering when Malachi's coming back. And he's 7.5, and we love nature play all the time. We kind of we're pivoting this year from a more traditional, I mean, it's a very experiential school, but Crane School, Austin has been, we're just trying to create a low stress environment where he can really learn to read, which is becoming more and more important. He's severely dyslexic, super brilliant kid, but hard to read. And that's really important in schools, unfortunately. And fortunately, whatever, it's what it is. So this is the year we get to play a lot, go to our tutors, and just not compare, not worry about school classroom environment. Yeah, and I love dancing with Austin, actually, at nighttime, fun dance parties. I love reading, cuddling, hiking. I don't love driving around with him, which I have to do a lot. It's the only downside of homeschool. So figuring that part out, but yeah. Oh, and I'm passing the baton to Lindsay. Are you ready? Or no? Okay, Julia.
Hi, I can go now. I couldn't unmute at that time. It was just mayhem. So, my name is Julia. My son is Leo, and he's almost 6. And I think my favorite things to do with them are cooking and reading together. He enjoys them both, and I do too. And it's always special for us. And we like to read a lot, so it's just long reading time for me and him, and we both enjoy it.
And here comes another person. Meredith is coming on. Do you want to just signal to us, Lindsay, if you feel like you want to share? No? Some music. What is that sound? Huh. I'm not sure what that sound is. Hello, Meredith. I don't know if you can hear us.
Hi, yeah, I can hear you. I'm actually driving, but I am here, so I will be mostly listening.
Okay. Would you
for
like
the
to,
rest?
we were just introducing ourselves with our name and our child's name and age, and something we love to do together with our child. Would you like to
yeah.
share?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Meredith. My daughter Amelia is 5.5. And gosh, we love to read together, swim together. We're always together. But yeah, she's excited. She had a great first day this week, so that was awesome.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. There may be some more people coming in as we go, but we'll go ahead and get rolling. Thank you for making the time to come. Oh yeah, and Lindsay just put a note in the chat to say hi. Yeah, Lindsay was kind of the original spark for creating True North in Santa Barbara, along with some others that gathered in to the True North light right away with her. Julia and Amanda were both there in the early visioning time. And yeah, Lindsay's teaching our plant class, Rites of Wonder, on Wednesdays, which is great. We're so happy to add some new elements to True North this year. So thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, so I want to just share some basic information with you, and also anything that you want to ask about or bring up or share, to have that opportunity to do that. And I will just say that also, I think you might have read it in the newsletter, but we'll, is that 2 weeks from this Saturday? We'll be getting together at the park to have, start the day with Parent Wisdom Circle, and then have a family song circle, and then potluck. And the kids can, just play the whole time. They don't have to do the song circle or anything, but often it's more the adults that do it. But the kids that really enjoy being present for it, whether they actually kind of stay in circle or not. And it's been a real blessing to share music with Elizabeth, who facilitates the circle. Yeah, she was with us all last year doing music with the kids too. And so I'm looking forward to that on the 16th. And so today is more kind of some nuts and bolts and really whatever curiosities you have. And if there's anything, just more general that you want to ask me about how things are handled at True North or anything like that. I have some things I could share, but I really would most want to address specifics that you might have. So, one thing I wanted to check in with everyone about is how you feeling about our location, Schofield. It's the first time we've been at Schofield Park with the group. So how's everyone liking being at Schofield? Any comments you want to share? Anything you don't like, things you do like?
I like that location a lot. But it's about the same drive. Like Malachi was going to Ledbetter. It's about the same drive, but because it's windy, it just kind of long. I mean, I know that was one of the things last year too, but I think it weighs out because I really like the location. So I feel kind of neutral.
I think it's really pretty there, but it's and it's central-ish, but really kind of far from everybody, probably just because it's way up there. So I don't know. Also, I'm in Goleta, so it's farther, but but it is really pretty there and quiet and serene. So I haven't seen any of the other locations, or know where else you guys would go. So yeah, that's my share.
Thanks, Meredith.
I have a small little, I think it's beautiful. It's nice. Yeah. Great location. My boy is really sensitive to, he has certain phobias of like a ladybug and butterflies. So whatever, that's okay. Kind of odd. He loves other bugs, but he does complain about a lot of those little bugs that are hard to get away, which, that's nature. But wondering maybe there's like those little camping things that like can help attract the bugs, and maybe that's not the True North away. I don't know if that's the
I was just thinking maybe some citronella or something.
citronella or something.
Yeah. It's the time of year,
Yeah.
those little bugs, those little flies just are around this time of year and when it's hot. So
Anyways, I know
yeah,
that's minor in my book, but it
yeah,
seems
they've
to
been
be-
bothering everyone. It's like all day long, Yeah, last year we didn't, the reason I specifically just brought it up is because last year we didn't go to Schofield because people felt it was a bit far, and but Schofield's just so nice of a location. We wanted to just give it a try anyways. And I think we all feel like we really love the beauty of the place, and it's not the most accessible. So I have a outline of the locations for the year. It remains flexible because you don't know sometimes with the other programs if maybe you need to shift, but I didn't schedule us to go back to Schofield until June, which we only have a couple of weeks or in June. So like we'd start the year there and we'd finish up the year there. So that's a suggestion that if everyone is in agreement, we can go with that. The other locations that we have that last year we went to were Stevens, Rocky Nook, and Lake Los Caneros. And then over the summer we were at Douglas. And Stevens and Rocky Nook are really, really getting used a lot. mostly whip and wild roots are there a lot. So trying to not overuse parks, and also it's impossible really to go there, if like wild roots is there because they have a very big program. So this year we're looking at being at Schofield and then shifting over to Douglas. And then there's another spot called Terra Nova that's near Tucker's Grove. And then just do a short stint at Rocky Nook, like in December, and then rotate through those 4 locations again in the winter and spring. So the Terra Nova is a new spot that we haven't been to yet, so that'll be trying it out too. And if it goes well, then we'll be happy to add another good spot to our list. So, and it's really central. It's, like I say, just near Tucker's Grove. So, yeah. Thank you, Julia. So, so good. Yeah, and just to say, at True North, we're doing our best to include everyone in the decision making that affects everyone a lot, and really take to heart anybody's input and feedback and so on. And as the program grows, we'll be developing more platforms for including everyone in decision making processes more and more. The program's young right now, and so there seems, it feels like there's a certain amount of need just to kind of get things established, and then continue to build on that and build in more and more of the consensus decision-making processes with the larger groups. So thank you for being here to help with these processes as we are starting, to get them developed. So let's see. Yeah, I already mentioned that we're doing the monthly family song circles and potlucks, which those are open to your bringing your friends and family. The more the merrier. We want people to be exposed to the True North community, and if they like being part of it, to find ways to become more part of it. So feel welcome to bring others. The Parent Wisdom Circle, last year we had Parent Wisdom Circle on a Friday morning once a month, and not everyone can come on a weekday, so we're trying it on Saturday morning before the song circle and potluck. We'll see if that feels good to everybody. If it doesn't, then we'll adjust and try another time. But we'll for the 16th coming up, we will try that and see how that goes. And the Parent Wisdom Circle, last year the parents really enjoyed it, and we're really looking forward to doing that again. It's a time to come together as as parents of self-directed learners, where there's a lot of learning that we do, and actually a lot of unlearning that we do, and a lot of self-reflection is entailed in the process of being with our children in this self-directed way. So the Parent Wisdom Circle is a time for us to look at self-directed learning principles together and reflect on some of our own deschooling processes that we're in the midst of, and to share and to support each other in these different ways. It's just very helpful, of course, to be with like-minded others who are choosing something similar for their children when it's definitely off the beaten path. It's not the conventional choice. So we need each other to feel supported in this alternative choice that we're making. And that's what Parent Wisdom Circle's for. So I hope you can come. And, we had mostly moms last year, but a couple of dads too would come, and that was awesome. So we hope everybody can make it. Just going to move down my list here. Birthdays, we have when we have birthdays at True North, I usually reach out to the parent, but if for some reason I haven't reached out already and your kid's birthday's coming up, please make sure to get in touch. We like to celebrate the birthday at True North if the family wants to. And it's just a simple thing we do. The last half hour of the day, we get together and have some birthday stories and birthday blessings and singing, and the family brings a special snack to share. So we have a lot of birthdays coming up, lots of birthdays in the fall. So just please make sure to talk to me about that if your child's birthday's coming. And for snacks, we've got a good number of people signed up. And if you haven't signed up and you can do that, please check out the snack sign up sheet. And that was in the newsletter, link was in the newsletter, or I sent it in a separate email under snack sign up. And that's super helpful. The kids really love having their mom or dad, helping them bring the snack and passing it out. That's very exciting for the kids when they get to bring snack from home. So and share it with the group. So that's been a real community builder for the children, and just a kind of a source of pride and pleasure for the children. So we are, as far as the rosters are so far this fall, we're still having people trickle in because people are kind of still settling in for their fall schedules. And we are nearly full Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a little wiggle room, but Tuesday, Thursdays, we definitely have room. Those are our smaller groups. So if you know somebody that you think might benefit from the program and being part of our community, please let them know that Tuesdays and Thursdays, we definitely have space and would love to have some more people join us. We're also looking to add another facilitator to the staff right now. And last year we had 2 men on staff, young men, and both of them had other things that they flew off to do this year. And so we would like to just, for balance sake, to have a male join our team. And I also may end up having a female come on because we have some really great female candidates too. So I talked to, it was another Amanda. I talked to Amanda Lindsay, and yeah, she's wonderful. So we will probably be, the goal is to, by October, beginning of October, to have another person on staff. So we'll be welcoming that person when we find the right fit. And if you know somebody that you think would be amazing, please pass them on to me. And let's see. Yeah, just wanted to comment on that the classes are going really well. Lindsay's classes, people are loving that. And same with the Friday group. Yes, last Friday was our first day, and the kids had a great time, and they're all looking forward to coming back again, I think. They talked about it this week, and so that's really fun. And Lindsay, did you want to add anything about your class?
Well, I think it's settling in really well, and I'm excited just to be exploring all things botanical with the crew. So we had a really wonderful day exploring manzanita on Wednesday. So making hand drills with driftwood and exploring the manzanita berries. I harvested some from Los Padres, and mighty warm weather up there. But and also not as many manzanita berries because of the lack of rain. So such a big difference from the year before's harvest. So we were making beads from manzanita seeds and tasting the berries, and we tasted the leaves so they understood what astringent was, and made some beads from the branches as well, just small little branchlets that I cut off from the tree where there was already mold damage on one part. So I did not take much. But yeah, they had a wonderful time with that, and they made beautiful necklaces, and one participant made one for his cat. So I never thought of that, but we had a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to more Wednesdays together.
That's great. Yeah, I just thought I'd share along those lines. You met Lily on Wednesday, Lindsay. She came to your class, and her mom was open to me sharing about this. That she shared it on Facebook. Just that Lily has been having some anxiety since COVID, and it hasn't been easy for her to come out to do things. And we've known Lily and Hattie. Hattie is her older sister, for a long time. They've been part of the groups that I've run for several years. And so Lily came, and she just had such a wonderful time at your class, Lindsay, and she felt so comfortable. There was no anxiety for her that arose that day. She just was able to be present and really joyful with the others and experience what was happening. And, you know, when I hear this kind of thing, this is exactly for me what self-directed learning represents and offers, you know, that we can have healing spaces where we come together and learn because we feel safe and comfortable and joyful. And that's it, you know, like that is exactly it right there. So just wanted to share that. Yeah, we're really so happy to be able to offer this space, create this space together. Yeah.
So Lilika will continue?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If she wants to, then that will, yeah, we'll be working that out. So let's see. Just kind of out of the nuts and bolts things. On the payment for tuition, Amanda sends you the invoice, and just I know that she has put a note on there to please connect it to your bank account, whatever that process is that Wave gives you to attach it, because then we only get charged 1% instead of 3% if you do it with your credit card. You want to say anything else about that, Amanda?
No, it's pretty simple, but yeah, just email me if you have any questions. I'm gonna keep sending out the reminders because a few people still paid with credit card, but yes, please, please, please set up your bank account. It will help us tremendously.
Yeah, thank
Thank you.
you. Yeah. One question that will come up sometimes is about bringing things to True North, like the kids wanting to bring a toy or something, and that's totally fine. And we just, you know, for the sake of relationship, what we request is that if it's a like a snuggle toy or some kind of a comfort toy that they want to have, and it's just for themselves, then they're totally welcome to bring it and say, nope, this is just for me. I'm just going to hold it. We 100% support that. And if it's a toy that they want to bring to play with others with, then it does need to be including everyone. So if they want to bring it and they say, well, it's only for me and this one person, then we ask them to actually wait until they have a play date or something to do that, because it just creates hard feelings, you know, if it's not including everyone. So that's a note about sharing. And it hasn't been a problem all last year. The kids understood as soon as we kind of explained that part of it not being inclusive, then it was fine. So is there anything else anybody had a question about? Just kind of nuts and bolts type questions? Amanda?
So I'm curious so we came from seasons, and Malachi has been asking this, and I thought maybe it would be better just to kind of follow along with it, but they had a commercial-free zone, I guess, where they didn't want characters. I don't know what the thought is for True North, but I thought maybe it'd be easy just continue it on. I don't really know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, that's like something that they also do at Waldorf, and it's, so you're talking about like having characters on their t-shirts or on their
backpacks, lunchbox,
Toys.
Toys even. If it's commercial, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly open to putting that to the community and asking what the parents want for their children. You know, coming from a very broad self-directed model, I would leave that open and trust our children and our families to make the best judgment, rather than making it like a top-down decision from True North. So I'd be happy to just put that out to the community, and the community can decide what they want to do for that. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else? Any other little things like that? If not, I'll just move on to a couple things I wanted to share about the basic, kind of the basic container that we hold at True North. So one of the basic ways that we talk to the kids about what we're doing together in terms of creating the relational space is that we have 3 basic agreements. And we don't say rules, we say agreements, because that language, when we say a rule, it sounds more like a top-down type situation, and we're really trying to encourage bottom up, like grassroots, consensus of the people type thinking for the children. And so we say agreements because agreements are mutual, and it's not one person just telling another person. So we have 3 basic agreements, and that's to 1, take care of yourself, and 2, to take care of each other, and 3, to take care of our environment. And so those are really helpful because they give us, like in self-directed learning, they'll talk about, well, we don't have rules, we have principles. And so those 3 agreements are like principles. We agree that there's a good reason to take care of ourselves, and the kids can, we get into conversations about these agreements, and the kids share what they think is why it's important to take care of yourself, and what does it look like when you're taking care of yourself. And so yeah, those principles or agreements help us to make other decisions later. Like, so for instance, last year stick fighting was a really big thing, and the in the model that we're working with, we want children to have experiences so that they can learn how to deal with them, and yet we also want to create safety for everybody. So so with the stick fighting situation, there was a lot of talk about what are our agreements. And so the kids themselves came up with the agreements, and the agreements were basically what an adult would have probably told them the rules were anyways, but they came up with them from their own experience of, like they decided, well, no sticks touching bodies, because, well, they had figured it out that, of course, when a stick hits your body, it doesn't feel good, and then the game is not fun anymore. So in order to keep the game fun and everyone feeling safe, they decided no sticks on bodies, and several more agreements around stick fighting. But just using that as an example of a way that, rather than the adults saying no stick fighting, that's the rule, we don't do it that way. We really want to elicit the agreements from the children themselves and support them in that process, even if it's feeling a little edgy to the adults, because a lot of things kids want to experiment with are edgy for adults. So we try to hold the balance between giving them the freedom to really explore those edges and keeping everyone safe. So both emotionally and physically. So that's those 3 agreements are really big. We cite those agreements frequently through the week. And then as far as when actual conflicts arise for the kids and something hard is happening, we encourage them to it's not strict or straight up like NVC, but along the same lines as NVC. It's the process is to first of all, just to kind of slow down our bodies, and let's see what's happening. And through active listening to each other, just state what happened, not blaming, but just what actually happened, like the actual action of what occurred or what was actually said or so on. And then, within that, supporting the active listening. And then if the children are feeling calm enough, because sometimes the physical regulation is not present. And if it's not, then trying to talk through it is not a good idea. It will overwhelm the child if you're trying to force them to be verbal when they're just not physically regulated enough to do that. So we give space if they're not available for being verbal. But if they are, then, or maybe we circle back later when they are, and just ask them, well, what would you need to, what would feel good to you to make this better? And the kids have a lot of their own ideas and are able to express, things that would help them to feel better. And then also another question at that point might be, well, what do you both agree on going forward, basically? And that's like, like with the stick fighting, like, well, do you both agree that you want, no sticks on bodies? Are you sure about that agreement? You both agree? And so, if they both agree, then we can move on. Or if they don't, then we can, figure out other ways of handling it. So that's the basic conflict resolution model that we use with the kids. And it looks different every time because, it's not human communication is not a formula to be repeated verbatim. That feels very false, and children have big, meters for anything that feels inauthentic. So, we try to meet each situation with really beginner's mind, fresh eyes and ears, open heart, and just be present with them through the messy experiences of learning how to communicate with each other through sometimes difficult feelings. So that's a big part of what the facilitators are doing, is just really showing up to be super present with the kids and creating the relational field for us to be together. Because in self-directed learning, the basic premise really is that if you create a healthy relational field, everything else is going to follow with much more ease. And even if there are difficulties in certain ways, that if the relational field is healthy, everything else gets better and easier. And we know, that our minds, our actual, the way our brains absorb information, if we are concerned about content absorption, when we're under stress, we do not retain, we don't receive or retain information very well. So the more relaxed and open we are, like Brooke, when you mentioned just having a more relaxed year and having that support Austin's reading, yes, because exactly, that's right. When we're feeling uptight, it's going to be harder for us to learn. And when we have lots of spaciousness to come into our wholeness and experience things from our wholeness, that's when things will land and be able to really flourish. So those are some basic things I just wanted to share about how we're holding space at True North. Is there anything you wanted to say about any of that? Anybody?
I love it. Have you heard anything about authentic relating?
I do think I've seen that, but I haven't dove into that. What would you like to share about that?
It's something that I've been hearing more and more about. That's kind of like, move like NVC would be in the field of authentic relating and moving a little bit away from that formula. So I haven't really got into it yet, but it seems pretty interesting.
Well, one of the things that I'm seeing, which I'm glad for, because for a long time I personally have just had a little bit of trouble with NVC exclusively because it's so heady, and it definitely has a component of like the one who's a better talker is going to be more secure in that dynamic, and that doesn't feel good to everyone. So there's a very small book. It's really more like a pamphlet that was written by a woman a year or two ago. It's been making the rounds in the SDE circles, called Decolonizing Nonviolent Communication. And essentially what she says is just, to make it more body-based, just to bring it down into the body and really to shed the jargon and to express more from the felt sense, which makes really a lot of sense for everyone, but especially for young kids. Because, their verbal skills aren't completely on board yet. And helping them to learn how to express from the felt sense is such a gift. I mean, us as adults, it's actually probably pretty hard for most of us as adults to do that, because most of us didn't learn how to do that growing up. So it's not our mother tongue, it's something we have to learn. But if our kids hear us expressing from the felt sense more, then they'll just automatically do that more themselves. So yeah.
Do you know the name of the author?
I don't have it here, but I could send it to you later. Yeah.
How do you call it?
Is it Decolonizing Self-Education? Is that what you said?
Medici.
Medici? We have it, Heather, but we haven't got through it yet. So
Yeah, it's I think it's an Indian woman's name. Yeah, I can send it over later.
it's also
Yeah.
on the website too.
Oh
Truly.
yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So is there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up today or have talked about? I could go on a little bit.
Only thing that I had brought up with Amanda, and it's kind of worth maybe a little bit of a conversation also with seasons. They had an agreement, no screens before going to seasons, just because the energy level was different. And I know with self-directed education, it can be kind of like, well, whatever. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I'm like just kind of building that more connected energy so that the transition is a lot easier.
Yeah, well, so in the self-directed world, unschooling world, you have a big spectrum of what people do. It's a big umbrella. And that's one of the criticisms that will get leveled at unschoolers often is because oh, they just let their kids do whatever, they just let them spend hours on the screen and there's no bedtime and they, all of that stuff. Like that is maybe what some unschoolers do. I can just share from my personal journey. What felt right for me was to be the parent that I wanted to be to my child, which included not having free reign on screens, which she didn't want to anyways, because wasn't her interest. But it also had a lot to do with what she saw her parents doing. I mean, when she was little, the iPhones had not hit yet until what year was it? Joshua, do you know? Was it like 2007 or something when iPhones hit? So when she was really little, she was born in 2003, we did not have smartphones. If we were on the computer, it was for shorter amounts of time. So she didn't, when she was very little, see us doing much on the computer. The kids now, if they're seeing the parents on the computer all the time, they are going to do that too. Period. End of story. So if you don't want your kids on the screen, guess what? That's got to be your lifestyle. And and if the kids are going to be on the screen, you know, some people feel that there's just an amazing amount of learning that goes on there, and that's fine. You know, my personal bias is that I think children's brains, when they're, you know, definitely like pre-puberty, are just growing so fast, and getting there's those early years are so incredibly formative for literally how our brain functions, that I would prefer for my child not to have too much screen time. And yet others, you know, feel comfortable with allowing that interface to happen. It's all a big experiment, right? We have no idea what kind of humans we're forming these days, you know. We'll see what happens. But my personal bias is, you know, that we would not have children that have tons of screen time. But I also feel that they're very strongly that parents and families should have sovereignty over the decisions they make for their children. So I would not personally, you know, choose to tell somebody else what they should do. I would want to have a discussion about it and see what their ideas around it are, and see where we can find our common ground. But to have like a blanket statement about that, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But if that's what the entire community decided through consensus, then I would support that for sure. So I think most of our families right now, because we do have a question about that on the application, you know, most people are moderate, you know. Yes, there's some, and it's not a ton. And of course, last year, all kids were just, you know, like required to be on the screen for way too many hours. So things are very odd right now, I think, in that department. But I think our families in general are choosing kind of that middle road, which I think is very healthy to have kind of a moderate approach to things in life. So is that yeah? So if you wanted, we could open that conversation up to the whole community and have feedback. Julia?
I was going to ask Joshua, was the season schedule a similar time as True North? To me personally, it feels like there wouldn't even be time for most children to be in front of a screen before drop off anyway. But I think it would be interesting just bringing that up. Even the families that do engage in that, maybe they'll just be more observant of if there's a difference in their children's behavior, and then they would naturally gravitate toward not, you know, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do that before True North or something like that. But it's an interesting thing. I absolutely noticed that because my child tends to be on the screen for a long time. I don't think he self-regulates very well, and so we have boundaries. And I absolutely know the difference. It's stark, and so I can definitely see where you're coming from, and you know why seasons would choose to do that. But I agree with Heather. In principle, I would rather have a conversation about it, just to bring it up and keep it on people's radars. That would be nice.
Having the conversation present, I think, is important, just so we're more mindful about it and observing, oh yeah, that does tend to happen, or not.
Yeah.
As you can tell, we're in this interesting transition because there was a lot of, they called them agreements, but we were coming into that community and there was already established rules. I felt, I mean, just talking about it right now, it feels more like rules. And it worked fine for our family, but so now we're trying to transition, and that's why all these questions are coming up for us too. And it, you know, it's the TV, the commercial, but it was also the food. And that's interesting because I've seen some of the forest preschools, I think 1,000 Mornings, make this statement like, you know what, everyone can afford what they can afford, and we're not going to say only organic, only this. Where Seasons was, again, they didn't want any packaging and like organic, so there was a lot of restrictions. And so yeah, we're in this great transition right now, so it's feeling good to be here. So thank you, Heather, and everyone.
Yeah.
The feeling of the idea of conversations over agreements, over rules, and because an
different.
agreement
It's
that
different.
you walk into, it pretty much is a rule.
Yeah.
Right.
You're aware of
Like,
it.
either you go with our agreement or you leave.
Mhm.
And then it's like, oh, okay, it's not a conversation. It's not an agreement. It's
You agree to agree with.
What I'm telling you to agree with you.
we're having all kinds of fun with that in our HOA right now.
Yeah, so
Ooh,
we got a lot of that going on.
new
but
community,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
we have all these established things.
Yeah. So, on that note, we will be continuing to have, this conversations about all kinds of things, hopefully through the year. And that's invited. That's part of the fabric of the community that we want to build here together, is that we're talking together about what we're doing. And, so yeah, because agreements that are made and then next year things are different, or next month things are different. And that's actually something that the Agile Learning Centers, which is a organization that a lot of SDE programs utilize their tools, and the whole idea in Agile Learning Centers is that, yeah, things are always changing. So you have to be agile, you have to be, responsive. Otherwise you just become this rigid structure, and that's not in alignment with SDE. So yeah, there's a lot of attention that goes into, again, building that relational field, more than and that's what I was going to actually comment, was the word school, which I know a lot of families use the word school for describing True North with their children, which is fine. And for me, it's like, it's a word that's been used in a way to describe something that True North is definitely not. And so when we use the word school for True North, it's really a very much a reappropriation of the word school, which I approve of. But it is a reappropriation, and it's definitely not, being used in the conventional sense to describe what we're doing. So yeah, that's been an interesting thing to kind of just get comfortable with the word. But yeah, it's kind of like, for me, it reminds me of like when I was growing up, I was raised in a Christian household. When I was like around 13, I rejected the whole thing. Then when I was around 19, I was having my own spiritual awakenings, and so on and so forth. And I couldn't decide if I could use the word God or not, because there was so much baggage attached to it. And now I can use the word God without any problem, because I have my own meaning, and I feel that way about the word school. I have to have my own meaning attached to it, and then it's fine. So yeah. And actually in SD, there's a lot of that going on right now, re-languaging, taking back really kind of what's been co-opted away from the people. And now we're trying to take back, some of these really primary things in our life, like the education of our children, and our health, and our spirituality, and all these, things that have been kind of, so there were authorities that we were supposed to follow on all of that. And now there's of course a really big movement towards, coming back into our own self-sovereignty within our families and with our communities.
Yeah, I feel like the word I feel is that a lot of those things have been co-opted. Just
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, for me, the SDE movement is a big part of my background. The last 20 years has been in healing work and also doing the raising of an unschooled child and working with other children doing groups. But the healing work part is a big part of how I relate to SDE as well, that it's a way that we are healing the future for our children is through reclaiming the right for them to be free to learn in their own ways and to spend their time thinking about what they want to think about rather than being micromanaged all day for 13, 15 years as they're growing. So yeah, for me, it's a big, a very important piece because, whatever we're doing in our educational arena, that's producing the next generation. So the SDE is, I feel, a very important part of how we'll move towards a world where we're not, recapitulating these mistakes that we've been stuck doing for many decades now. So we're all doing the good work, fighting the good fight. No, not fighting, just creating something new. Creating something new.
The good co-creating.
Yeah.
I have to go start dinner, but
Yes. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Does anybody want to add anything before we close?
Anything?
Well, within reason.
Anything at all.
I'm excited about what we're doing here. Really excited about it.
Yeah,
Can't
thank
wait
you.
to see where it goes.
Yes,
going.
thank you. Yeah, I'm excited
looking
to.
forward to the potlucks and having that rhythm in our schedule with the parent wisdom circle because I've heard such wonderful things about it, and of course the community singing and Elizabeth. I think it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that being a nice ritual in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, coming together, it's so important to support each other. So I'm just looking forward to the weavings that are going to be happening between all of our hearts and minds as we create this space together for our kids. So thank you for being here with your heart and mind and body. And I'll see you before then, but I'll see you on Saturday the 16th. All right, everybody.
Is it the 18th?
Yeah, I think it's the 18th, Heather.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm thinking of October. It's the 16th. I was
Okay.
18th.
You're in October.
18.
Yeah, 18th.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.